Hello and welcome to today's Delta Credit Tip. So you're out there shopping for a secured credit card and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna hit Capital One up, so you go and apply. Well, we're gonna give you our 2021 review of the Platinum Secured Credit Card with Capital One right here on today's Delta Credit Tip. Hello and welcome back to today's Delta Credit Tip. I'm Michael Holmes of Delta Credit Restoration, bringing you yet more information to help you in your credit restoration process. Special shout out to my Delta squad who tune in and subscribe and help each other every week make a choice to make a change here with Delta. So today we're talking about the Platinum Mastercard Secured Credit Card. That's kind of a mouthful, but that's what we're reviewing today, right? It's a very popular card, and we have kind of this 10-point scale system that we measure our cards. Hopefully we can make a determination by the end of this video whether or not this is a good card for you, right? So let's dive right on in and see if this is a good card for your wallet. So the first characteristic that we look for is, of course, does it have an annual fee? This card does not, which is very good. A lot of secured credit cards have with it that annual fee, and that's kind of for us, right? We don't like the annual fees. This card does not have one, so 1 point for that. The second characteristic that we look for is whether or not, or the interest rate on the card. Now, we kind of have a tier system. The interest rate for us is the only characteristic that can either add or actually subtract points from their value. And in this particular case, because it is over 20%, the margin on this card is 23.74%. So that's a kind of an ugly kick in the pants kind of rate. So we don't like that. They actually lose a point for that one. Now, there is a saving grace that Capital One has, and actually more appropriately, we can call it the grace period, which is the third characteristic that we look for in a credit card. And in this particular case, there is one. So what is the grace period? Well, a grace period is where if you pay off that credit card, the entire balance within the first billing cycle, they don't charge you any interest. So even though it has a prime of 23.74%, when you add, they have a margin of 23.74% and they add it to to prime where it's like 26%, because there's that grace period, it's kind of irrelevant if you're not financing stuff on the card, right? So we do like the fact that it does at least have the grace period, right? The next thing that we look for is a conversion factor. Some people call it a graduation, but really what it means is that once you've got a certain track record with Capital One, they will eventually send you your deposit back. Now you have an unsecured card that you can move forward with and you get your cash back, which is great. So again, positive point for that. And actually, for a brief period of time last year in 2020, they actually did away with that feature. So they brought it back, which is a fantastic feature because that was one of the higher quality points that we liked about the card, right? The fifth thing that we look for is customer service. Do they have good customer service? And there are some credit card companies out there that have definitively really bad customer service. Well, the one good thing I like about Capital One is that they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're in a pickle somewhere in the middle of nowhere and you've got to rely on that card and there's a problem with it, you can reach them, right? No matter what time of day it is, no matter what day it is. And we really like that characteristics of the card, so we go ahead and give them the point for that. The sixth characteristic that we look for is, can you add other people to the fund, right? Can I add an authorized user to my card? And usually with a credit card that's secured, they're kind of going out on a limb already, so they don't like extending their exposure to even more people, right? But in this particular case, Capital One does allow you a authorized user, which is fantastic. The seventh characteristic that we look for is really a testament of their character. Are they transparent transparent with their terms and agreement, with their guidelines. And remember, here at Delta Credit Restoration, if you've been watching our videos for any period of time, we have a very common theme here, and that is, I don't care what your credit score is. What I really care about are the behaviors that lead to your score. And there are two behaviors that we look for. The first behavior that we're really want you to be cognizant of is what's going on around you financially. And that includes understanding the relationships that you're in that have that financial backbone to it. And obviously, Capital One is one of them. And it's not only about the information once you get into the account, but what's the guidelines? Know as much about this card as you can. And the fact that you can go to their website and they'll literally tell you these are things that will cause you to be declined. We really like that about that card. That transparency is really important for us. And of course, you can always click and print the terms and agreement as you're going through that process. The next characteristic that we look for is, do they offer alternative services? And in this particular case, what we really like about Capital One is that they offer their credit monitoring service for free. It's called Credit Wise, and because you have a card, and actually you don't even have to have the card to enroll in it for free, but the fact that they offer it is great because that's kind of the whole point, right? You're getting this secured card because you need to build your credit and you need to be able to monitor it to see if it's doing its job. So the fact that they offer the credit monitoring to all their clients for free, another thumbs up, okay? Another characteristic that we look for in a credit card is a key element in the application process. And that is, can your application be applied to multiple cards? And at Capital One, you can do that. And that's great because obviously we prefer an unsecured card. But if you apply for one and don't get the actual card that you applied for, that same pull can then be applied to an application for the secured credit card. You don't have to get your credit pulled twice to then be considered for a secondary card. So you can apply for the unsecured first and then transfer basically that application on over to get the secured card, okay? Last but not least, and this is kind of a very rare thing that we see with credit cards, but there are some that have it, and that is, do they offer rewards? Capital One does not. There's a 0 for them in this particular category, but most secured credit cards don't. There are a few exceptions, but unfortunately Capital One isn't. So between those 10 characteristics, right, we went through the annual fee, the interest rate, does it convert, how's their customer service, do they offer authorized users, are they transparent, do they have a grace period, do they offer credit monitoring, can your application be approved, can you get multiple considerations with one pull, and last, do they offer the rewards? And when you kind of add all those things together, Capital One is a very strong 7. And recognize the only reason why they lost points is because they don't offer rewards, which is kind of rare already. It's kind of hard to get a perfect 10. And secondly, they actually lost points because of the interest rate, but they kind of, work around it, I guess you can say, by having the grace period built in. So hopefully this information helps, as it can help you make that decision as to whether or not this is a good card for you. If you like the information, give us that thumbs up. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the bell so that every week as we do this, because we do it every week, people, we give you this information, you get it right away. It can help you make a choice, make a change.